Set 11 is now live on the PBE, and the full release is just a few weeks away. So in today's video, we'll be going over the new mechanic called Encounters, as well as looking at all the new traits, units, 5 costs, augments, items, and more. So let's get straight into it today and start off with a new mechanic in Set 11 called Encounters. Encounters are additional rounds that will occur up to 5 times each game, where champions will appear on your board to offer and grant you all sorts of different and unique things, from items or components, experience, gold, or even unique changes to the game, like mixing up which rounds you'll pick your augments. Plus, I'm sure you've all heard of the Kayn encounter already, which is definitely the most controversial one so far, as he will execute all players in the lobby, ending the game there and then, and everyone will finish in their current position. Don't worry too much though, because he will arrive at the start of the game and warn you which round he's going to come and kill you. So plenty of time to plan for it at least. It's likely that all of these encounters will shift and change a fair bit before this set's release hits live servers. But for now, let's go over some of these examples. Let's start with a few basic ones first, and here Aphelios appears and grants us 2 item components. In this encounter, Udit offers us a choice, and whichever option we go for gives us different options. So here, when we pick Bear, we get a Chain Vest and a Giant Spell. In this one, Kindred offers us blue or red, which ends up being the buffs, so we get a blue buff.
He's beginning to believe.
Now let's take a look at some more interesting ones. In this encounter, Teemo appears and asks us to guess whether we win or lose the next round, and grants us bonus gold if we guess this correctly. Here, Lilia moves all the augments to random rounds, which means you might not even be able to select your augments until much later into the game. In this one, Ornn jumps onto the carousel and adds an artifact weapon to each champion. There's also an encounter with Ashe where you can see which opponent you're facing for the rest of the game. Aside from all of those exciting ones, there's also some for fun encounters too, that don't really impact your gameplay, like Sivir making everyone really speedy, or working out with Set will make everyone bigger, for no real reason really. If you want to see all encounters in more detail, then click the link in the description and head to our website. In this next section, we're going to take a look at all the traits we'll be playing with in Set 11, and starting off with those origin traits. Dragon Lord. After 8 seconds of combat, the dragon strikes the board, dealing true damage to enemies and granting all allies attack speed for the rest of combat. Dryads gain AP and health, and each enemy death grants additional health too. With fated units, you can hover and drop one fated unit over another to form a pair, which unlocks a fated bonus. The pair also gains bonus health too. Fortune is back in Set 11, and this time we have a new 1-cost unit called Kabuko. When you lose a fight, you gain luck, and you lose luck when you win fights. You'll also roll a die, and in that many player combats, you'll be able to cash out or risk it and go again for even bigger rewards. Next, it's Ghostly. Upon dealing or taking damage 7 times, Ghostly units send 2 spectres to haunt enemies and heal every 2 seconds. Haunted enemies take bonus damage for each spectre on them and pass on spectres on death. Heavenly Champions grant a unique stat bonus to your team, which is increased by their star level and each heavenly unit in play. With Ink Shadow, you'll gain unique items called tattoos that grant various effects, and these items will change with each game you play, and we'll go over each of these items later on. Ink Shadow champions also gain bonus damage and damage reduction. Mythic units gain health, ability power, and attack speed, and after 4 player combats, these become epic units, increasing the bonus by 50%. Porcelain units boil after they cast, giving them attack speed and taking less damage. With the Story Weaver trait, you'll summon a Kayle, and you'll evolve her with each Story Weaver star level you get. You'll get more combat buffs for Kayle the higher your trait bonus, and as the game progresses, Kayle gets more attack speed with each stage. Then finally we have Umbral, which illuminates hexes in a moon-shaped style, shielding units placed inside them. Umbral units placed in these hexes will also execute low health enemies. This trait also introduces another TFT exclusive, Elune. Then we have the class traits, and we'll whip through these fairly quickly, starting off with Exalted, which is a pretty unique one as each game has a different set of Exalted units. The trait grants bonus damage plus more based on your level, and after combat you store experience in a Soul Core, which you can sell to cash in and claim the XP. Altruists heal their low health allies and gain resistances. Arcanists gain AP and grant AP to their allies. Behemoths gain armor and magic resist, and when they die they grant even more to their nearest behemoth. Bruisers gain max health and grant your board more health too, and Duelists gain attack speed that stacks up to 12 times. Invokers gives mana to your units, Reaper's abilities can crit and gain crit chance and deal true damage bleeds when you hit 4 Reapers. Sage gives Omnivamp or ability power based on positioning, Trickshot's abilities ricochet around enemy boards, and Wardens gain damage reduction. Then finally we have the 5 cost traits Artist, Great, Lovers and Spirit Walker, which brings us to our next section, Legendary Units. The new 5 costs in set 11 are Azir, Hwei, Aurelia, Lissandra, Sett, Udyr, Wukong and Xayah and Rakan. Azir is a backline unit who beams enemies and spawns tanky guardians to bolster your board. Hwei creates a pool of paint that heals allies before exploding, healing again, and dealing AoE magic damage. Hwei's trait called Artist paints the champion you place in a special bench slot. When Hwei's work is complete, you'll get a 1-star copy of the champion that's placed in there. The rounds to complete this painting is the same as the unit's cost, but hitting Hwei 2 will make it a bit faster. Aurelia is a true blade dancer now who sends out blades from the backline to execute her enemies. Lissandra steeps her targets into a teapot, stunning them and turning them into loot if they die. On the playtest server, Lissandra was absolutely printing out item after item, so one to keep an eye on. Sett will squat units next to him at the start of combat, granting bonus stats, and then his ability slams and stuns his enemy into the ground. Udyr goes berserk and charges through enemies, knocking them up before grabbing and slamming his nearest enemy. His Spirit Walker trait heals him back to full after dropping below 50% health. And then after that, he becomes super speedy and starts slashing his way through boards. Wukong has 3 abilities he cycles through: a staff throw that stuns, a spin dealing close range AoE damage, and then a dash which also slams down his staff. Wukong's trait is called Great, and this means he grows his weapon every 3 casts, modifying his abilities. Finally, we have Xayah and Rakan, which is a 2-in-1 unit that's Lover's trait means they shift based on where you position them. If you need some extra frontline, let Rakan take the lead. And if you're missing out on damage, Xayah will shower the board with her feathers from the backline. Now moving on to augments. And the most important thing to note is that with the removal of headliners, emblem augments are now back on the menu. So you can now see things like Sniper, Crest or Crown, granting you an emblem, and some other extras like units or components. Hero augments are back this time round too, so look out for these augments for Neeko, Shen, Kabuko, Yorick or Garen, and have fun making these guys your main carries too. Especially Ethereal Blade Shen might trigger old memories of Time Knife Shen a few sets ago, where he literally 1v9'd entire boards by himself. There's also a ton of new augments to wrap your head around too, ranging from fairly simple ones to ones that are absolute carnage. So let's have a look at a few examples. Starting off with 2 for 1, where you gain a copy of the first champion you buy each round, which is insanely powerful to let you hit those 2-star 5 costs in the late game. Build a Bud is a pretty funny one though, as you'll get a random 3-star 1-cost unit and a completed item anvil. Now seeing as this is a first augment offering, it can set your game up right from the start if you hit a strong 1-star carry like Kha'Zix. The next one is called Reinforcement, upgrading the next 4 costs you buy to 2-star immediately. This one's kinda like a late game Stars Are Born, allowing you to spike insanely hard instantly if you get the right carry involved. Then we have Trash for Treasure, which gives you 2 special reforgers that turn items into random artifacts. The play with this one is to always slam 3 completed items on any unit and then use a reforger so you get 3 artifacts per reforger. Blood Bank is another one which is really strong if you're dominating your lobby in the early to mid game, as you'll grant 2 extra gold for every 8 damage you deal to enemy tacticians. The Golden Remover grants you a magnetic remover with unlimited uses, as well as an item anvil too. This can be amazing to transition between units and carries without even having to worry about selling anything. So that's just a taste of some of the new and exciting augments coming in set 11. But if you want to see all of these in more detail, then don't forget to click the link below and see it all for yourself on our website. Moving on to items now, and items in set 11 are pretty much exactly the same as the previous set. So let's go over the spatula items so you can see how you can build those emblems to hit those glorious prismatic traits. You can also find an item cheat sheet in the description. So it goes Giant's Belt for Dryad, Rod makes Fated, BF Sword creates a ghostly emblem, Negatron is for Heavenly, Tear for Mythic, Bow for Porcelain, Chain Vest for Storyweaver, Crit Glove for Umbral, and of course, as always, Double Spat makes a crown. The only other new items are the ones that come with the new Ink Shadow trait. These change in every game you play, and there are 6 of these in total. Tattoo of Bombardment is an AD item that fires additional bolts to low health enemies. Tattoo of Force is a frontline CC item. Tattoo of Fury is an attack speed execute. Tattoo of Protection is a shield for your frontliners. Tattoo of Toxin provides damage over time and wounds your target, and Vitality provides healing and magic damage. Finally, portals are here to stay again this set as an evergreen mechanic just like augments. You might run into some new portals though, like Wandering Vendors, which gives you a training dummy with 2 attached support items, or the Lethal Legends portal, which deals +1 extra damage to your enemy after winning your combat, speeding up the pace of your game and lobby just a little bit more. Sometimes though, your game will instantly start out with an encounter, which will replace the portal instead. For example, with the Kayn encounter we mentioned earlier, he'll appear at the start of the game and inform all players when he'll arrive to slice them all up and end the game there and then. Well, that brings us to our rundown all about all the new things coming in Set 11 and everything you need to wrap your head around. We've got a few weeks of fun on the PBE now before it all gets released, so check out our PBE comps on our website to try some of the new traits and augments and have fun along the way. If you do want to be notified when we upload all our new Set 11 content on release, like the top 5 comps to play in each patch, then feel free to subscribe and hit that bell button. Thanks for watching guys, and we'll see you next time. Take care.